Hi, welcome to the channel. Today's video is quite interesting. It's about modern women and relationship. We're going to check this video together, and I'll love your thoughts and your contribution in the comments below. Let's dive right in. This is a member shout out. Thank you so much for signing up to become a member here on this channel. Your love and support is immensely appreciated. And if you want to sign up to become a member here on this channel, do well to click the link in the description box below to sign up to become a member, or click the join button beside the subscribe button to join to become a member on this channel today. Once again, your love and support is immensely appreciated. Thank you so much.
Holiday.
Anissa, if you can read this one.
Panel with about 50% of straight couples and about 70% of lesbian couples experiencing divorce. Does this suggest that women may contribute more to relationship instability? If so, why? Hashtag divorce energy.
Techno, thank you for the message, man. So basically what they found is that when it comes to gay men marrying, the divorce rate is lower than straight couples, and straight couples, the divorce rate is lower than lesbian couples. So you have male-male relationships, divorce rate the lowest. You have male-female relationships, divorce rate higher. And then you have female-female marriages, divorce rate the highest. Do you think everything is to be blamed on women? Yes or yes? Just kidding.
Yes.
So I don't think it's necessarily putting the blame on women. I think there's a lot more complexities and emotions that are involved within it as well. Possibly like even lack of communication or too afraid to communicate. And short answer, I don't think it's to blame on women. I think there's a bunch of other factors that need to be looked at and considered when it comes to that, I think.
Well, I'll open it up to the panel. Does anybody have any thoughts on this?
I do, but I can wait.
Most men I know that are in like bad relationships tend to like not leave. Like they just kind of stick it out. Like they stick it out or kind of wait for the other person to go. So at least in my experience or people I've met, so I could see where like you got two guys in a relationship, neither one are going anywhere.
Okay. Q, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I try to be as objective as possible, but considering the fact that women have more unrealistic expectations when it comes to relationships and love, and women have a higher baseline level of stress, you know, when you think about what contributes to them behaving in certain ways or wanting out of relationships, then yeah, because women get
To finish his.
Sure.
I wanted to elaborate. I was saying that in most instances, while I can attribute some reasons to men doing things such as to who was it that their husband was he got a divorce because he was an alcoholic or he drug abuse. Some men do things like that, but overall I would have to say that it's typically predicated on a woman's emotions, because women have a million turn-offs. Women believe they want something in a relationship. They get in relationships, the reality of relationships happen, and then they say, oh, I don't want this anymore. This is not what I expected. They get into relationships, marriages, high on Disney fairy tales and fantasies, ideas of love, and then when conflict starts to arise or they start to realize that they actually have to put in work and effort and those emotions die down, then they want to get a divorce or they want out of the relationship. So typically I will say it's predicated on the woman's emotions.
That's crazy because
I actually disagree with
with
this
men
take.
mostly. Like I always try to communicate and try and figure out the problem and the root of situations and conflicts, and I always get pushed to the back burner and then get left.
Yeah, I would have to disagree with Q here a bit. Respect. The disagreement that I have here, as I kind of dove into this data, I'm trying to find the strongest correlate that I can find, right? What is the strongest one for divorce? It is true that women do initiate most divorces across all sectors. That is true. But I wondered, is there anything else here, right? Well, it turns out that there is. The number one thing that I found digging through this, and my wife found digging through this, the number one correlate of if a woman is going to get a divorce from a man is if she hangs out with divorced female friends. Interestingly enough, when men hang out with divorced male friends, The male friend tells them that the divorce is fucking horrible. This is awful.
Exactly.
This sucks. It's terrible. She took half my shit. She took the kids. She took the money. She took everything. When women hang out with their divorced friends, though, they tell them how great it is, how freeing it is, and how they should join the club. And interestingly enough, one of the most common things which comes up, and this is in lesbian relationships, which would explain this as well, is that when women are around divorced women, that is when they tend to get divorced the most, is if their friends have been divorced.
Exactly. And I also want to say that potentially everybody is right based on their stance or opinion, because two wrongs can make a right in this situation, and it's different for different people, right? Let's not forget that misery loves company. There's a saying that goes, and lots of the time, in fact, lots of people, especially on TikTok, I think there was a time where there used to be this wave and trend of modern women coming or making TikTok videos on how they left the good guy, that it was just too good for them, it was just too nice for them, and all that, that he did not do anything to them. They just sort of wanted to leave to go for the bad guys and whatever. Where is all of that coming from? Misery loves company. So yeah.
I thought that was an interesting thing.
That is interesting. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, women are easily influenced by other women, and they
Exactly.
tend to conform to what other women do. But do you think that doesn't land under the umbrella of like emotion?
Well, I mean, I guess it's under the purview, but what if we reversed it, Q? What if we said, okay, these women are hanging out with all of their friends, and their friends are saying, I'm happily married and this is great, and they're getting positive reinforcement from society and their friends who are around them for their marriages, right? Even if we were to kind of grant the emotion thing, which I'm not disputing, wouldn't that then follow that those women would likely, like they did in earlier years, not be getting divorced at these types of rates? If it was looked at as a positive, right? It's not like, oh, you're liberated. Oh, this guy is oppressive. Oh, it's great being divorced. It's fantastic. I can do whatever I want, wake up when I want, blah, 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 blah.
Well, most men that get divorced, they get married again because they need somebody to like take care of them. Most women that get divorced stay alone because they're like, I don't need to be somebody's like parent. I'm going to just chill by myself, and it's way better alone.
Well, there's a lot of kind of presuppositions which are in here, especially with need. I think that men never usually want to get divorced in the first place, that they would rather
Right,
kind of
because you
stick
guys
it out
get
with their
so much
marriages.
more out of a marriage.
But but let me explain my reasoning here. I think it's because men generally are far more moral, and they adhere to a much stricter moral guideline than women tend to. And when they take this kind of vow with women, they tend to take it seriously. They want to stick together with this woman forever and ever and ever and ever. Whereas, well, I mean, you can shake your head, but you have nothing to back any of the things you're saying up. Nothing, right?
If I had my phone, I would be Googling it.
Why is it that women are initiating divorces? Why?
Because they have to do too much for a man. A lot of the time, women are willing to go and be a single mother because they're a single mother at home with their husband. Like they're just not.
So they don't want to. Wait, so
they don't want to take care of an additional person. They want to just take care of themselves and their children. They don't want to have to also take care of a
husband's out
full-grown
taking care of
man.
everybody too.
You're
isn't
assuming
he?
that he is.
Isn't the
Most men
husband
don't
working?
do that. Most men aren't doing that.
Men are out working their asses off for their women. What do you mean?
Yeah, back in the day when you were young, for sure that's what was going on. Not
even
today.
now. Well, how young do you think I am? Do you think I'm 90? Like, how fucking old do you think I am, lady?
No. I don't think that you're like ridiculously old.
1948? Do you think I was born back when we smoked the pipes and smacked the bitches? Like, what do you think? How old do you think I am? I'm 40 years old. I was raised in the 90s.
I didn't realize that.
You didn't?
I'm sorry.
I mean, you look older than me. I'm just saying.
No way.
That's not true.
Absolutely
No.
not.
But Andrew,
I think it's true. I just
didn't
don't.
mean
I
to
just
strike
don't
a
dye the
chord
gray
with
out
you
of my
there,
hair
bud.
like all of
maybe
you do. The
you
only
think
difference
that
is
because you're
I
on the other
don't
side of the
dye
camera.
the gray out of my hair like all of you do. That's the only difference.
No.
What's this?
And if I did,
I have
I'd look
gray
younger
hair.
than every one of you. Oh, give me a break. Go ahead, lie to me. You have no gray in your hair and you don't dye any of the gray out, right? Go ahead, lie.
I'm not gonna lie. I will say
exactly.
yes, I do things to help myself look younger. It's the society we live in. It's not my fault that you don't want to take those steps as well. You could have helped yourself out, and I wouldn't have guessed you were older.
It looks prestigious, but if you had no makeup on and all your grays were there, guarantee it, lady, you'd look older than me. So let's not kid ourselves here. But this aside, all this aside, while we're trying to dunk on me as though you're not wearing a complete facade that I can't see right through, can we move into the actual data portion of this argument, and you can explain to me how it is that men aren't out there busting their asses in the most treacherous jobs on planet Earth while women are sitting pampered in air-conditioned offices for the most part?
What? What about air-conditioned offices?
Okay, so I'll ask
talking
again.
about jobs for gender roles.
Women, what types of jobs do you think women are doing? Do you think that they are high on the threshold of danger or very low on
Forrest
the threshold?
Gump donated $200.
I think there's scientist women, there's women going to space, there's women that are detectives, like there's women doing everything. What are you talking about? Did you not watch the Barbie movie?
So I feel like you can't even hear the question. So just listen to the question that's being asked.
It doesn't matter what I answer. You're going to debate it and just say I'm wrong.
No.
Did she just compare real life to Barbie movie? Did she just compare a realistic conversation, like a human conversation, to a movie, to fiction?
I'm just going to ask you the question, and then if you answer it in a way that I agree with, I'll never debate it, right? I'll never debate it if I agree with the answer.
Okay.
So the question is, do you think that women's jobs are high on the danger threshold scale or low on the danger threshold scale?
Who chose to have a dangerous job and allocate the jobs to whoever? Men did.
I feel like you're allergic to answering a question.
No, because I think that there's women that are doing dangerous jobs
now. Question answering. Is it a condition that you have? Perhaps we should get you some medication to fix the lack of being able to answer a simple question. So I'm going to ask it a third time. Perhaps without this time asking me a question instead of answering, or changing the question instead of answering, you just answer the fucking question. So here's the question. Do you think women's jobs are higher or lower on the danger threshold scale?
What? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I didn't hear you either. Huh? You should vocal fry harder.
It was intentional.
I know it was intentional. Can you answer the fucking question, please?
No, I'm opting out of it. You're
Pretty please with sugar on top? No?
No.
Can't do it? It's impossible?
Yes.
Okay.
So Andrew, let's go back to our little exchange, really quickly. You said you seen that the strongest correlate was, or I'm guessing that your source said that the strongest correlate was women being influenced by their friends or having divorced female friends.
Yeah, well,
correct?
this is I don't know if it's the strongest, but it's a really strong correlate that we found was if you're in a group with divorced women and you're not divorced, your likelihood of getting divorced increases exponentially compared to if you're around women who aren't. The way that you could make that comparison is between religious communities and non-religious communities. The more religious the community, the less they tend to divorce, right?
Right.
But there's other correlates there to look at too, which is the religiosity, for instance.
Right.
But it is something that should be looked at, I think.
Right. No, and like I said, I agree. But in terms of where I disagree with that is looking more at the predictor of divorce, and of course this is a much more complex web, because then I'm talking about on an individual basis, and what typically happens in marriage dissolution is emotional dissatisfaction, or they say they've grown apart, and typically that results from conflict.
Yes, but the question is, and I agree with all of what you just said, but the question then becomes, why are they saying that?
Right.
Is it coming from them, or is it coming from something which is external? So if it's coming from this external idea, because you're hanging out with a bunch of divorced henpecking bitches, right, who are just like miserable and counting all their cats, and they want misery loves company, as they say. Could that be a good, strong indicator of why you see more women who are in the groups of divorced women getting divorced at much higher rate, right, than when they're in groups of non-divorced women?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's both.
I mean, you could shake your head. You had a chance to argue, though, and all you did was go, ah. So it's like, I don't know what to do about that.
Because you didn't want to listen to me. You didn't want to listen to my points or anything that I was saying. You just wanted
you
to
have
talk
to answer
over me.
questions. You have to answer questions.
Your question
if you want
was
me to answer your
irrelevant.
questions. What's irrelevant?
Your question about, do you think women's jobs are this or this? Do men have more dangerous jobs?
You know what? If you asked me an irrelevant question, I would answer it quickly, and then I would ask you the question that I wanted, or I would dispute whatever you thought was irrelevant. That's the easiest thing to do, is to just dispute whatever's irrelevant. Easiest thing you can do.
No, I was starting to answer you, and then you came for my looks. You said that I looked older than you. You didn't want to actually hear.
No, you started talking shit, so I started talking shit back.
I genuinely did not realize that you were only 40. I apologize. But since women are so emotional, you really handled that very well.
When I wrote your age down at 34, I was also stunned. I was like, this 60-year-old lady's 34? That's insane. Like, it was mind-blowing to me, too. You know what I mean? But I've seen so many women, I think, inside of like I always tell my audience, the women look way worse in person than they do on camera. I think that they all like do their makeup specifically knowing they're going on camera. They always look worse, by the way, in person than they do on camera. But more importantly than that is I see the amount of shit they do to themselves, right? So this is me. This is just how I look all the time, day and night, 24 hours a day. Not a one of you look like that. 24 hours a day, not even close, right? And so it's like, fair enough. You can kind of judge the looks, but I'd like to see you no makeup with all the grays. And then I think people would judge it differently. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Let me also say this, because there's a reason why I said the both of them, that's Andrew and Q, the other guy, are right in their stance regardless, and I kind of agree with both. Is sometimes, majority of the time, some of these modern women get into marriage with the idea of a timeline when they want to stay and when they want to opt out. Because the reason I said this is, before now I would have doubted it, right? But there was something that happened a couple of weeks ago, if not last month, in on Twitter, now X. And going through the timeline, there were lots of these modern feminists who sort of like in their head, one of them planned on getting married, and few years down the road, her plan was to get divorced after staying with the husband for a particular period, potentially bearing one child for the man, so she would be able to take or have child support, right? To fund a lifestyle. Meanwhile, there is this other one who is married, and she was also discussing with this other one, and in her mind, she's tired of this marriage. She's at the time she wants to stay in the marriage has elapsed, and she wants to leave. So therefore, her excuse or way to leave the marriage was for her to cheat on her husband so that she would leave the marriage. And guess what? They both ended up cheating on themselves. That's her and her husband cheated on themselves. Then they filed for divorce. That was the excuse. And in her defense, her husband did not know, or what she said, her husband did not know that she cheated on him because she never told him. She sort of used his cheating as an excuse to leave him. Meanwhile, she cheated, but she already had the plan of leaving him. So she sort of did some things that would trigger him to do what he did. So now those were only two conversations, and what was even mind blowing was some other group of people had that same idea. In the comment section, some of them would even share their thoughts, like, "Oh, it's mind blowing, or is interesting how lots of these women they live is liberating and stuff." And I'm like, so wait, your plan is to get married within a time frame and leave your spouse. Again, sometimes it's not even about who they hang out with. sometimes is already the plot in their mind that they plan to do. Because guess what? This idea, conditioned idea of strong, independent woman has clouded their mind. So what way would they use as an avenue to sort of stay independent but not really independent? It's insane.
Man.
Did you want to answer the question?
Well, I know
wasn't a
when I
question.
got
You said, would
divorced,
you, if you
my-
took
No, I
off all
know,
your
but
well,
makeup
I
and
can
everything?
say I know when I got divorced, my husband assumed that I had divorced women in my ear convincing me to get divorced. I can tell you it very much had nothing to do with that, like from my own experience. But I think in both situations, even with the men, when you've got your friends and you're convincing you to stay married, like you still have your peer group persuading you. I think it's just about evaluating your situation against the potential of something you don't have. And
I agree.
Evaluating the options.
I agree, but
I don't know
I
if
guess
it's
my
a
only
gender
dispute
thing.
here would be,
You know.
what if your peer group is more likely as men to tell you, divorce fucking sucks, this sucks, I lost my kids, I lost my house, it's a bad country music song, right? I lost everything in this divorce. And so
Yeah.
you hear more of those stories as a man.
I think the
right?
system's bad
I
for
think that
men.
that acts as a great deterrent, whereas for women, that deterrent doesn't seem to be there.
Well, no, the system's not very fair to men. I think in general, the system's not very fair to men. There's very few men that I know that have custody of their children.
Yo, Tank, thank you for the
Now that
gifted
I've gone through
20.
this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
That's
it's a
a good. I
combination
think
of
it's a
both.
good take. I mean, you're right that everyone's going to be influenced by their peer group. I don't dispute that. I'm just kind of asking, what if your peer group in general, right, is having really bad experiences with X thing, and then the other group, which participates in the
Yeah.
same thing, doesn't have those bad experiences, right?
But how much of it is gender and how much of it is just the system, like getting divorced? Like a lot of states are more favorable towards women in divorce. Like I don't know that it's necessarily the women's fault that the judge.
Well, I'm
feels
not
a
saying
certain
it's
way.
ontological. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying because you're a woman, only because of the fact that you have a vagina, therefore you're likely to get divorced, right?
Just
Of course,
Gerald
there's
donated
factors which are.
$200. I've worked construction for 6 years, and there has never
Thank you,
been a
Gerald.
woman working on the job site. If I'm working 60 hours a week, and you're not working, get in the kitchen, then clean my clothes.
Gerald, thank you for the TTS. Speaking of which, we have lowered it to. It's all good. TTS is now 69 if you want to get them in. Continue. Go ahead.
I'm done.
Yeah, I was just kind of agreeing. I don't think we disagree here. I don't think that because you're born with a vagina, that means you're like predisposed to want to get divorced more than men. So I'm looking at the factors which are external to that, right? I'm like, well, wait a second.
Sorry.
This seems to-
CDCK_it_worker donated $69. Bro dude's clearly enjoying self-harm. He's already getting fixing broken code in prod, and his wife is getting by chads on camera. That's up if you ask me.
Worker, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Andrew. I'll pause it to let you.
Oh yeah, no worries. So just very briefly, I was just saying that I don't think because you're born with a vagina or born with a penis that therefore you're more likely to get divorced or not divorced. So I'm just looking at how different peer groups behave in society. And so women, obviously, they're going to probably have a lot more female friends than male friends, and male, it seems to be the same when they're reporting this, right? Though women do seem to have more male friends than men have female friends. I kind of understand the reasoning for that as well. But when it comes to women in their peer groups, they seem to, if they're around a lot of divorced women, they seem to be far more likely to get divorced. Men around a lot of divorced men don't seem like they're more likely to get divorced. And so I just wonder if that is not because they're hearing the horror stories from men, whereas on the woman's side, they're not hearing it.
I agree with you. I think so.
Yeah, I think it's a combination. I mean, ultimately, Andrew's not wrong either, but he's looking at the external sources, and I'm just more so looking at the internal source, whereas the actual conflict in the relationship that leads a woman to want to listen to her peer group when they convince her, because at the end of the day, if she's considering divorce, then that means some shit is going sour in her marriage, and her friends are there to tell her, oh yeah, it's great on this side, like, get a divorce, you don't have to put up with that, you don't have to deal with that. I'm just looking more internally at what the actual conflict within the relationship that leads her to her peers and her friend group saying, yeah, definitely get the divorce, as that extra affirmation for her to follow through.
Yeah, but is the conflict coming from nature and nurture? That's the question, right?
Nature.
Or both.
I think nurture is more of a reflection of nature, because I don't think we had a capacity to do what's not innately in us. Like I said, like a woman's base levels of stress response is different than a man's, whereas they get more stressed out with conflict and they ruminate longer on things. So if you and your wife have an argument, she may ruminate on it more, or it may affect her.
This is really weird, dude, because divorce is conflict, and they initiate more of the divorces.
I know.
So, like, that is conflict initiation in and of itself, which would seem to go against your point of nature, right?
No, not necessarily, because in terms of nature, I'm more so speaking to the way our brains respond to conflict, and that's why I said the base levels of stress being the predictor more so if a woman is going to want a divorce, because if she feels that the relationship is no longer beneficial to her, or doesn't suit her emotional needs, or the guy gets on her nerves, or she feels that they've grown apart, then those are all results of her brain being stressed out.
Yeah, I don't dispute that, though. I'm just saying, why couldn't the reasons for that be based around the peer group and the social pressures, which women are more susceptible to than men anyway, rather than something which is like intuitive, rather than them go, oh, I came to this on my own? Why couldn't it be external social factors like almost every other behavior we see?
Well, it could, but ultimately, I think it boils down to she already has to have a sense of wanting out of the relationship to get that extra affirmation for her friends to even say that. I mean, if a woman is happy in her relationship, no matter how much she's around her peers, they're not going to convince her to get a divorce.
They will.
I don't know. And here, let me give you my kind of counter to this.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Philip Morris?
No, I'm not familiar with Philip Morris.
They make these. Philip Morris, a great cigarette company.
Oh.
They had an idea where they wanted to get 50% of the population who didn't smoke to smoke, and that was women. And so they ran a great campaign to get women to smoke. Now, most women, I would say, were pretty secure in the fact that they didn't smoke, right? They don't want to smoke. They never had any intention of smoking. But this campaign, this kind of social campaign which happened, it got an awful lot of them to smoke. I mean, at an incredible rate, just so you know, right? And this type of propaganda seems to work fairly well on both sexes, by the way, not just on women. They're susceptible to propaganda in a different way than men are, which is like social propaganda. But it worked. It worked really good. Mm-hmm. And so I just wonder, again, kind of going back to this, I'm not disputing that they could be unhappy. I will dispute, though, that they could be in a happy relationship and due to peer group pressure wouldn't end that relationship. That I'm not convinced of at all.
Yeah, I mean that's where we fundamentally that's where we're gonna fundamentally disagree, because I just think the individual has more weight and drives her into the peer group, and they just reinforce it, and then she's like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna follow through with it. I just think it starts more with the individual than the reverse. But I don't disagree with the fact that her friends influence. I just think it starts with the woman herself and her relationship.
Is that how women are?
The Weebirate donated $69. Considering DV rates are the highest among lesbians and lowest among gay men, it would point towards women being the bigger problem.
The Wee Pirate, thank you.
Forrest Gump donated $100. Jackie Kennedy, don't let him win. Play his game, answer his questions, and then hang him out to dry. You go, girl. You got this. When you clam up, he wins.
You want to respond to that, or?
Thank you. Sorry, I did clam up. I am working on using my voice more and better. And I also don't actually mean any disrespect to Andrew. I think he has a lot of things that I agree with when he's talking. Mm-hmm. And I genuinely did not realize his age. Now that he said it, I do see that he is 40. I am sorry.
Well,
A
you know, I
legendary
mean,
trash panda donated $69.
Yeah, thank you, man.
To clarify, Chair 6 needs the nose job.
Chair 6.
Yes, live stream super chat needed to be said. Dude was pretending Princess Hard AF.
Oh, that was
yeah.
you.
So
Which one's
you
chair
don't,
6?
you don't have to apologize, right? So the thing is, like, I just match energy. So if somebody talks smack, I talk smack back. If they don't talk smack, I don't talk smack. Right? Simple.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I genuinely didn't mean disrespect, though. I
good.
had no idea. So, like,
All good.
holiday.
Okay, let me just say this because both are right on this. Again, let's even talk about this because this is the more reason why majority of the time I kind of like say people stay present in the marriage or relationship because sometimes some women might be in a very good relationship, everything is going all fine, and they may be listening to other women. It may not necessarily be their friends. Sometimes they may be listening to other women, or worst case, they may be listening to àwọn àgbà motivational speakers or whatever that will tell you, okay, look for this, something here is wrong, something here is wrong. And many women will look in their relationship and be looking for what is not missing. That's where the problem lies. Majority of the time, some people don't even stay present to want to fix their relationship or fix things. Yes, some people will say, oh, maybe their partner did this one day and did not do this, or the partner potentially forgot to call and all that stuff. So those are grounds for them to leave. And because the partner potentially must have forgotten to call. And yet people say, oh, if your partner does not call you 3 times a day or 3 times in a week or every day in the week, then that partner is not right for you because we make time for people when we are busy. That's not how it works. Because let me tell you, there are some people that are not call person, are not phone call people, and you cannot force them. Regardless, even if they are in relationship with somebody who is, if it's not their thing, they would not. And that's just it. I was actually discussing this with a friend, and it so happened to be like I understand. I know so many people that have phone call anxiety, and it's a thing. And there are lots of people who are like that. So you hear people be like, oh, because this is what works for them, then they want to make it seem like everybody, this should be what works for them. That's not how it works. Again, many women are more susceptible to listening to external factors more than focus on their relationship. Sometimes the relationship might be going on well, but they may just be looking for something because they heard something and say, oh, because this is this. Then they start pinpointing to say, oh, something like this happened last Thursday. Or that is grounds for them to hold their partner to say, oh, their partner is wrong on this and that. But you don't want to discuss or talk about what is wrong in the relationship. Some people have this idea that what they say is final, no grounds for discussion. That's not how marriage works or how relationship works. So again, I sort of think that majority of it boils down to women because many women prefer to listen to emphasis on many women. They prefer to listen to the outside external noise. It may not necessarily be their friends. Majority of the time is their friends, but most of the time it is social media, and they run with it because guess what? That's what they've been feeding off constantly, which makes no sense. That's why I keep saying stay present in your relationship, do what works for you. Everybody's relationship is not going to be the same, everybody's marriage is not going to be the same, and that's what makes it different, right? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Obviously, this is quite an interesting topic, and people are going to have different thoughts regarding it. Let me know what you think. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video. This is a member shout out. Thank you so much for signing up to become a member here on this channel. Your love and support is immensely appreciated. And if you want to sign up to become a member here on this channel, do well to click the link in the description box below to sign up to become a member, or click the join button beside the subscribe button to join to become a member here on this channel. Once again, thank you so much for signing up to become a member here on this channel.